So welcome, Megan.
Thank you. How are you today?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Always busy, but that's a good thing, I think. Keeps me out of
Yeah,
mischief. Yeah.
yes.
Oh, well, Megan, I'm so glad you've come on and to share your idea, because there's so many people out there with inventions, ideas, and well, some have actually made it to a prototype and then they don't go any further. Some people have still got an invention in their head. Some people think, oh, somebody should make this that would make it better, without thinking that they could perhaps make it. So you've just made a product with your dad, and it's out on the market. And I want to sort of run through that, because I think a lot of people could take a lot of lessons from you, and I'm sure you've learned a lot of lessons on the way. But
thank you.
Tell us about, so your product is called Lead and Hand. We'll go into the backstory in a minute, but before we do, tell us what the product is, what it does, and what it looks like, just so we know what we're talking about for the podcast.
Yeah, so pretty much it's just an organizer for all your hoses, cords, and extension leads, anything that can be rolled up and you want to store away. So, just to clean things up a bit and that sort of thing. There's lots of things on the market that do very much the same sort of thing, but we do think that this is simple. It's one product and it's all in one piece. So, we've put a lot of time and effort into the design and things like that. And we're trying to just get it out there. So pretty much what you do is you anchor your lead or your rope in one side of it. Usually that's the male end if you're doing your extension lead. And from there, it just clicks in, and literally just clicks in. That's what it does. And from there, you can hang it wherever you like, store it in a corner, put them on top of each other, and they pretty much just, you can pull the bottom one out without annoying anybody else. So as far as caravans and things like that, we think that this is, the next big thing. So we're excited.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And to explain it even a little bit deeper, it's like there's like a handle, and you like you said, you hook in one bit, and then but this whole, you loop the leads in, and this is one of the biggest problems that we have, and I have it, you get an extension lead and you roll it over your arm, and the next thing it buckles, and you got all this you're trying to wrap it up, and and you bugger up all your leads. But not only that, they all come unraveled, and then they tangle up with each other. So exactly what you're saying just makes these extension leads and ropes and other hoses and stuff, they roll and they hang in this holder that is like nothing's tangled. It's just the perfect loops, and I love the idea. I think it's, so many people have got so many tangled bloody cords all around their place. And in the shed, I've been so particular about looping them properly, but then they still come undone. I've got to tie them up with a bit of hay band or something, so that they don't bloody spew out all over the place. So I absolutely love it, and it's only small. It fits in your hand. The other thing you didn't mention, see, I'm a better salesperson. You want me to come and do work for you, but it fits in the cup of your hand, and as you just roll, and it's not awkward. You just roll it into this plastic thing that's sitting in your hand, and boom, 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 and in it goes. And if you probably need to watch me on the YouTube clip, because I'm being a little bit over zealous with my hands. I love the idea. Now, what's the backstory?
Yeah, so Dad, he comes up with quite a number of good ideas. This was just something that we thought this is a way to do it. This is really simple. It's compact, and like you said, it fits in your hand. So, which means that you don't have to go back through the toolbox trying to find it when you go to pack up at caravan parks or whatsoever. And it's one piece, so there's no moving parts. It's all in one piece. It's injection molded, so which means that when it comes back, it actually comes back to the exact stage that it was molded at. So the process was awesome, just to watch how it all gets manufactured and things like that.
Now, before we keep talking more about your dad and when
Yep.
you've got one in your hand there, I can see
Yes.
it, right? And I do a 30-second promo on so do a visual for us. I hold it up and say this is the leading hand, and then you put your little thing in here, go and do that, and then I'll use that as the go on.
All right. So this is our leading hand. You've got two little holes here at the bottom, which has got a zippy tie in it. That's where you put your cord through and you anchor it in there. So as far as the next one, it just goes straight in and the loops just sit into that little handle there and you got it all in one.
And then your face face disappears, Megan.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. That's perfect. That's fantastic. Yeah. So your leads just wrap around in there. They loop properly. They don't get tangled, and you just hang it up through that little hook, through that hole by a hook in the shed or in your caravan, whatever. And that's a bloody ingenious idea. That's lead in hand.
Yep, because it's all in one piece. That's what you get, and it comes back to the exact same shape. So it just clicks in every time. So that's your click, and holds everything together.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Fantastic. Now, tell us about your dad, because your dad invented it and he's a bit of an inventor. So what was his challenge? Like, why did he invent that? What was going on for him?
So for Dad, he's got a lot of machinery and things like that. He's got a lot of tools, and he decided that he needed a way to clean everything up. His shed has never looked so pristine clean as it does today. So it's just another way that he needed. You know, he had ropes and cords, and being on a farm, you know, he's got his oxy and acetylene, he's got his air hoses, everything, and this just means that he can roll them up, hook them up on the wall, and they're done. There's no way that, you know, they can get tangled or anything like that. He did go through a very big process of, you know, designing and things like that. So it was a long, tedious kind of time that he thought about it. And then once we got started, well, that's when the process started.
Yeah.
So
I love that. They always say that you should write a book. If you want to write a book, write one, you know, because a lot of books happen because I'm looking for that information. I can't find it anywhere. So I'm just going to write the bloody book. Or I'm looking for a solution. I can't find it. Therefore, I'm just going to create it. And I love that. How long did your dad think about it before how long was he constantly saying, I bloody need something to stop these leads before he did something?
So he did make a few prototypes. I would say that it's probably 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
The thought process was there. But then it's taken us another 2.5 to 3 years to get through the patenting and design and all the rest of it that you have to go through just to get a product out on the line.
Yeah. People might be listening and have no idea. You know, I have this idea. I imagine in my head what it might look like, but I've got no idea where to go or where do you go? Like if you've got this idea, how do you find someone to manufacture it? How do you find how to patent it? How do you do all that stuff?
Yeah, we were super lucky. We got hold of our engineer first, and he drew it up for us and all that sort of thing. So from there, we did actually have the patenting process in the channels, but it did take a little bit. But if you're going to start it again, I would start with an engineer, and so he would actually design it, draw it up, and then you get, in our case, a 3D mold.
Yeah,
and that gave us a really good idea of the shape and everything like that. Dad had already made a prototype. So his prototype he made pretty much in his shed and in the kitchen sink at Mum and Dad's. And it was made out of just your 90 mil downpipe that, you know, PVC. That's where it started. So, yeah, our engineer was pretty lucky that we had that already done. He did say that most people come and they've got actually no idea on how it's going to start or how it's going to work. So he then has to really go through the channels and all that sort of thing. It was really only just smoothing out the angles and making sure that everything worked.
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
pristine.
Yeah. What sort of engineer does this? Like, is it a specific engineer that or can you just go to any engineer? Like, not any, but you know.
Yeah, it would depend on what your product is.
Yeah, yeah.
Our engineer, he was awesome. He does a lot of tooling and things like that for your plastics.
Yeah.
So that's his kind of where he goes. And he's got a lot of different contacts that we used, and one of his contacts was our actual plastics man that we use today.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love it. And I love, like that there's, I do have an issue with too much plastic being in the environment, but this kind of thing is not that. It's a sturdy, solid one that'll last for 100 years. You can wrap your leads up forever and ever, and you're not going to be just piffing them. A lot of plastics are that bloody flimsy and shit, that they snap, and then you ditch them and they never go. But if you got something that's really solid and it lasts forever and ever and ever, and everyone, you continue to need them, because we're going to need them forever. I think people have been tangling ropes for hundreds and hundreds of years, and so I really love that. When you're saying about your dad making it in the kitchen sink, like, I'm thinking about your mum and thinking, what's his name? Darcy. Get your bloody pipe out of me sink.
Yep.
Was he, how many, tell us about that, because I've got a vision that's probably not accurate, of your man, your father just standing there forever, tittle-topping at the bloody sink, and your mum wanting to wash the veggies and stuff. So
yeah. So being out on the farm, mum's pretty used to this sort of thing. But yes, he did do a few prototypes, so it was an ongoing process. But he pretty much cut it out of the 90 mil over in the shed, brought it over, and that's when he could actually heat it up with the hot water, mold it into position. So it was an ongoing process, and probably a messy one too, but that's what we deal with.
Is your dad an inventor? Is he that sort of person that's always coming up with resourceful ideas, for things?
He is, yes. He's always come up with weird and wonderful ideas. And it's just one of those things that being out on the farm, you don't have everything at your fingertips. So which means that if you need something, you pretty much got to build it. And so that's what Dad does. He's very resourceful. And, that's, how it is.
Oh, no, I get it, because we got a little farm. We've got 11 acres, and it's a hobby farm with rescue cows and donkeys, But it's the same. I collect all sorts of little things, and my partner's always like, chuck it out. That's rubbish. And I'm like, no, that'll come in useful. So I've got a very big useful section of my useful stuff section in my shed. And I tell you what, I'm always inventing things out of that useful stuff. So I'm with your dad. I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And recycle, reuse.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
One of those things, and you don't have a lot to play with. So everything is a resource. Yeah. Everything is something that you will need at some stage. So don't throw it out,
I'm the same, I can't stand throwing stuff at the tip, and I'm not being, it's not same as your dad, not being scavenging or hoarding, but it's kind of like, shit, that's going to go in landfill if I throw it, and I guarantee in 6 months I'm going to be like, I know I had a tiny little bit of pipe that I could use to bloody, to block off the electric fence, and stuff like that. And then you're like, where is it? And so, I know I keep everything so that I can do it. Now, where did you get involved? Because now you're part of the crew. You and your dad are now co-founders, like your co-directors, whatever, of this business. So what made your dad drag you into it?
So it is very much a family affair. We are a very tight-knit family. My two brothers are in North Queensland. So, we're all spaced out right over Australia. So that's, one of those things. But Dad doesn't really leave the farm, let's face it. So it's not something that, he could just pop down the road, and where he is, there's no engineers, there's no one close. So me being in Melbourne, I said, look, I've probably got more people here, that I can call on. I've got a lot of people that we actually got contacts from. We've got friends that are already making things out, and selling them. So it was more of I've got the contact and I'm in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So when is your dad in Queensland as well?
Yes. So Dad's Central Queensland.
Wow.
Yep. So he's on a cattle farm there, and he's got machines and things like that. So it's not easy for him to leave the farm just to go and do something. So
but also not just easy. It's like, and your two brothers in North Queensland, it's not that it's not even just easy because you've got commitments, but it's that bloody far to go. Like, I don't, a lot of people, I know Australians get it, but anyone listening from overseas, it's like, if you live in Central Queensland, you're traveling for 3 days before you see anybody. Like it's you don't just go for the sake of going unless it's bloody important.
Yeah, and to get Dad down here on the plane, it's a massive feat. Yep.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're sort of running the sales and I see that you're doing markets, not markets, but trade shows and stuff like that. Does your dad come down to do them with you, or are you doing them all on your own?
So at the moment, it's actually my husband and I manning the sites.
Yeah.
We just did one at Scoresby the other day, and it was fantastic. So that was a 4x4 and caravan show, just because we're trying to get it out there.
Yeah.
Now we actually made the product more for the industrial side of it, more of the mining industry and that sort of thing. But then we started talking to marketing people, and they're like, did you realise there's a massive market in caravans and camping and the domestic market?
Yeah.
So we just thought, why not? We'll just chuck it out there. It's, only 40-something K down the road. I'll just go and do that for 3 days and see how it goes. And we had, like, wonderful people come to us and say, how much it looks so easy, and it is so easy. Why did nobody come up with this before?
That's what everyone says.
Yeah.
What about, and there's also Farm World, there's also that sort of stuff. There's tons of caravan camping expos. I'm also thinking about musos, because I'm all right, here I am tangling myself up. I was going to say I'm a muso. I am a bloody muso. I was nearly going to say, well, I'm not anymore, but that's bullshit. I'm not going to own that. But for musos, I know myself. I've got a milk crate down here that I stole at some point, and it is full of freaking leads. It's full of leads. And musos always have leads hanging up all over the joint. So there's another, mind you, most musos are bit broke, because it's the only trade that you buy a $5,000 guitar to drive 500 miles to earn $50. But anyway, but there's also that, yeah. So I reckon there's so many industries or so many professions, so many opportunities out there that just haven't happened yet. You just haven't found it. PAs, music guys that go and do set up PAs for community shows, all that. God, there'd be tons of stuff.
The feedback that we had from people at the markets was phenomenal, but probably the one that hit my heart the most was there was an older couple that still do their caravanning. The lady came up to me and she was like, oh, can I just have a go? And I'm like, absolutely, not a problem. So she's actually got arthritis in her hand.
Wow.
Her husband's got a walking stick, and because she can't actually have the mobility of her fingers, this fits in the palm of your hand and it keeps everything together. So that was just something that threw us, that was just a spanner in the works, really. So we were like, oh my God, where can this go?
Oh, a million. I think it can go to a million places you haven't even thought of yet. And so,
Yep.
it's such a wonderful idea. And I can just, you've just hit me in the feels there. You know, like there's so many people that, and particularly older people who they are losing the mobility of their hands, and there's already the frustration that I'm getting old. You know, people hate this aging. You know, it's because we're losing our dexterity. We're losing, you know what I mean? We're just not as independent as we used to be. I think anything that gives a person back their independence, you know, is it's life changing. And I think we underestimate the value of something that can give a person quality of life. And a simple little yellow, you know, plastic thing can change somebody's life. Like, I love that. I just love it. Love it.
Yeah, I was just taken back by that one. I was like, okay, this is a whole new world. Yep.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And so I was going to ask you what sort of feedback you received, but I reckon you've nailed that one like bloody, you know, that's amazing. What's been your greatest learning out of all that? And you might not know, but you might not be able to nominate the exact greatest, but just going through this process, what's something that you learned that you thought, oh, holy hell?
Yeah, so the injection process is phenomenal. But like I said, we've had such great people behind us. They sort of stepped us through, and I put a lot of onus back on them. So our engineer and our injection molding people, they actually worked together really well and didn't bring me into it so much, which was great because I know nothing about it. But now I look at things in a whole different way. And like you were saying before, you know, everything's made out of plastic, but we're actually using nylon here. So we went through the process of looking at recycled plastic and that sort of thing. So just that I learnt so much about, because obviously the recycled plastics, you don't get a pure product. So which means that when they're injecting it in at such high PSI, it can just go everywhere. So that's why we had to come back to a pure product that can be recycled, because I really wanted to keep that in perspective, because that is a lot of people ask, you know, can it be recycled, or are you using recycled plastic? And that was one thing, like, we're trying to keep it all Australian. We're trying to do the right thing and make it so that, you know, this is going to last forever. And that's why we made it for the industry. It's bomb-proof.
I love it.
Absolutely bomb-proof.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you've considered the sustainability aspect as well, you know, and how do we do this ethically? Do you know, how do we do this well? And you know, I'm just going to say it, and McDonald's are going to hate me, but all those plastic shit things you get in McDonald's, you know, in the, what do you call those little Happy Meals and shit like that? Like, honestly, like that is making plastic for the sake of bloody making plastic. Yeah, and you know damn well it's going to end up in, like, that's, to me, that's unethical, and it's just bloody irresponsible. Do you know, that sort of stuff? But I love that you've been through that process, and I love that you learned more about it, because that's going to make you even more aware of plastics and more aware of the environment and more aware of how we can make things better, because we still need to make things. Like, there's a place for making things that are needed, you know, but there's not a place for making rubbish that is some kid's going to step on or dog chew up and end up in the buddy. But I love how thick they are too. I love that you can see how sturdy. Yeah, they just got a real toughness about them. So I love it. And even if you didn't use them you wouldn't throw them away, because you'd still bloody store so many other bloody things with them. But I love them.
The same lady that actually had the arthritis, she's actually going to use them for her shopping bags.
Oh,
because she can keep 2 shopping bags in there.
Yeah.
And because you can anchor it to whatever, you're not going to lose it.
Yeah.
So, you know, she was like, oh, can I have 2 packets? And I was like, oh, yes, you can. So, yeah, she definitely was one of those people that had her mindset that this is going to change her life.
I love that. Absolute far out. I love that. I love that. What do you what's your dad, right, being
Yep.
an inventor, because now that this has taken off, right, is your dad now going, oh, far out, what else can I invent? This is fantastic. Is it like, has it made him get a little bit silly in the head, like, you know, invention wise, going a bit crazy?
Oh, so he's got lots of inventions. The biggest thing that we've just got to work out which one we're going to do next. So yes, it is endless, absolutely endless. He has always thought of different things, and you know, every now and then he says to me, "Oh, I thought of that years ago. Why didn't I do that?" But the thing with it is that you need the time and the money,
Yeah.
and you never have both.
Yep.
And, you know, this process that we've gone through, we now know, like you said, we've learned so much. We've got all our contacts. We've got lots of people that we know in different industries now. And so which means that, you know, if we do start to make some good money out of this,
yeah,
and, you know, and definitely is doable, it just means that we can go to the next product. We can bring out that next big thing.
yeah.
And keep the ball rolling.
I love it so much. And you said something really important in there that no, you didn't. You yes, you did. You said a lot of important things, but there was one thing that triggered my mind, that you know, you now that we've gone through the process, you know, now that we've got this, a lot of that I'm thinking is that you went through that process. You asked people, do you know? And a lot of people don't ask anyone because they feel like someone's going to steal my idea, or you know, or I don't want to tell people about it. But unless we ask for help, you know, we're not actually going to get anywhere with this product. And with the patenting, tell me about that, because for people who are fearful, you know, that someone's going to steal my product, and I do get it, because there are assholes out there. There's no doubt about that. There are people like that. But where do you go for patenting, and how long, and you might not know all these answers, but how far ahead can you patent and that sort of stay within your ownership before it expires? Like, how long have you? I don't understand that process because I've never built something like that.
Yep. So the patenting process takes a minimum 18 months just for Australia-wide.
Wow.
That's from the moment you engage a patent officer through to when they can actually start doing, you know, you can start doing something. You can start building something on a patent if you've got it in the process. So you actually have to know that, you know, you've gone through that process and it's patent pending. So which means that, you know, there can still be people that say that's very close to my idea, or, you know, that sort of thing. And you can come unstuck there a little bit. However, we were really lucky in that our patenting went through quite fast. So 18 months is pretty much what our patenting went through. We then went and did our trademarking and design.
Yeah.
So that then means that nobody can take our name, and nobody can take the style and the shape and use it for something else. And because it's so universal, it will be used for so many other things that we never thought. Let's face it. So but it's probably taken from the patenting process to now about 2.5 years.
Wow.
To get it out on the market. So, you know, that's a costly episode without actually getting anywhere and seeing a product.
Yeah. So that this time and money is real. I think that that can frustrate a lot of people. Like, a lot of people are just like, no, I want to sell it now. Do I want it to go now? But I think anything that's worthy, anything that's, no, I don't know about worthy, but anything that's, like, anything's really good. I can't think of another word. It takes time. Like, you've got to have a lot of, no, the good things don't just happen overnight. You know, there's and people don't see that. People see the success, you know, or see the end result and go, oh man, that just come out of nowhere, or oh, that would be easy to make, or that. But a lot of people don't see the blood, sweat, and tears that go on in the background. And I think you've got to be in it for the long game and have a lot of patience, you know, to do this.
And it is the waiting game.
Yeah.
So pretty much, you know, to start one process, you can't do that until the next one's finished, or you've got that signed off, and then somebody else has to do something else. So it's all about just keeping everyone in the loop and keeping like everything together so that you know what stage you're up to, when it should be coming through, and that sort of thing. And yeah, it is a waiting game, definitely a waiting game.
God, you really got to know why you want to do it, and you really got to be serious about it, don't you? But I still reckon there's a lot of people out there with great ideas that are just not doing them. And like you said, with that lady with her hands, do you know, like, I'm sure so many people invent things, you know, that, and they never follow through. And when you're talking about disabilities, you know, like there's an assisted device, and it's like a fork, you know, so a person with, say, cerebral palsy can't grip a fork, do you know, and they've got forks and spoons and that with just a strap that just goes around their hand, you know, and so that they can actually feed themselves, and so that they have dignity, you know, in the fact that they can feed themselves. And that's come up with somebody just going, oh, what have we made that, you know, and it's changed the lives of so many. So I think that a lot of people have got great ideas, you know, and I hope your story has inspired a few more ideas, you know, because there's so many people who need help out there, and, you know, the simplest thing can make all the difference.
Yeah. Dad always says necessity is the mother of invention.
So that's so true.
Where it's needed, somebody's going to come up with something.
There, that's exactly right. That is exactly right too. And if they don't invent it yourself, if it's not there, bloody invent it yourself. But and yes, I know, I understand that it is hard. It's like, where do I do this? I don't know. Anyway, but if you just start asking, just start exploring, just start researching, you know what? I truly believe that if you know where you're going, and you know what your vision is, you just put the first paver down, step on it, whatever that paver is, you know, and then go, fuck, I don't know. But the next paver always appears, and it always does, you know. That's happened to me so many times with so many things. Just that faith that if I start, it will unfold. It will actually unfold. So,
and have faith in the people that, you know, that you're engaging, because they have so much knowledge. Our like engineer and patents officer, there was nothing that they didn't tell us. They were so open, like they just helped us beyond belief, really, because we just felt like, you know, we had no idea where to start, no idea what to do. And so we put our faith in them, and they just took us on this little ride. And still to this day, I can ring them up and go, all right, so this is what we're doing. How do we fix it? And they will just go, right, this is first way to fix it. This is what we're doing.
Wow. It is getting the right people in your corner, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I've loved this. I absolutely love what you're doing. I've loved this conversation. What advice have you got for other people, anyone listening who's got a little idea in their head, and I don't mean little as in trivializing it, but what advice what do you want to say to them?
Throw it out there. Give it a go and back yourself, because, you know, there's only one way to get it done. And if you do it yourself and you believe in it, we didn't ever not believe that this could be the next big thing.
Yeah.
And it's just shown with all that feedback, which was great to see people, and, you know, just how their eyes lit up and went, oh my God, that is so easy.
Yeah.
It just puts it in a whole new perspective. We thought it was just us being biased. No. Back yourself. Go for it.
Love it. Now, love it. And where can people find you?
Yeah, so we've got our website up and running, so you can get them off the website, which is leadnhand.au. Can
Can I just stop you?
Yep.
Lead and hand. I just want to spell it before. So leadnhand.au. So not leading hand or any leadnhand.au. Sorry, Megan. Where else?
Yep. We will also be, we could pop up at your caravan camping shops, or even not at the shows and things like that. So we're going to be down at Sale one. When's that? The end of November.
Good.
And we'll go from there.
Fantastic. And you've also got Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook and Instagram.
And I'll put those links in the show notes. And I also just had a thought as you were saying that, boating, camping, BCF and fun, not going to give anyone a plug, but, that sort of stuff. If you could get some stockists, that would be bloody ripper. That would be bloody fantastic.
We have had people come to us already from caravan shops and so forth that are very interested in our product. Fantastic. So that's just the feedback. That's just that moment where you feel warm and fuzzy because you go, wow, they really do see the value in our product.
Yep. Yeah, I reckon it's a bloody ripper. So thank you. I'll put all those links in the show notes for everyone to just click on and get their bloody lead in hand and change their lives, because by God, the thought of a clear shed with all your leads hanging up properly and stuff like that and your hoses and everything. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing that journey, because it's really fabulous, and I hope it's inspired somebody else to kickstart their idea as well. So thank you.
No, thank you. It's been fantastic.
My absolute pleasure. By the way, Megan goes to TAFE, does something at TAFE, I don't know what, but anyway, that's the point, with my sister Kate, and Kate says to me, Karen, you've got to interview Megan. Her and her dad have invented this thing, and then I hadn't got round to it after a couple of weeks, and she texts me again, very cranky that I hadn't rang Megan. So now I have. So now I have, and here we are. So I'm very grateful for her talent spotting you for me.
She's just been one of those followers that's been over exuberant and watched our progress, and she's so excited for us.
Yeah,
and we've had a lot of them.
Yeah,
it's been fantastic.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and that's what you need. And you need word of mouth. Word of mouth is just bloody amazing. So she's certainly in your corner. I can tell you that, because she's badgering me. So love it. All right. Well, you have a fantastic day, and thank you so much for joining us. And hope it all goes super, super successfully well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye.
Ta-da.